a comedy thing. I had been asked to give some of my memories of growing up and my life history and some things that I remember, especially in my childhood. I sure appreciate you coming and listening to this. Now, I do want to make a disclaimer. My memory is not as good as it used to be, so some of these details, I don't know if they're exactly the way it happened or not. But this is the way I remember it. Now, when we were young, we were not very well off. We were pretty poor. I remember evenings when our mother would gather us around the table and read recipes to us. Because we didn't have any food, she'd just read recipes to us. If there would have been anybody hard of hearing, we'd have starved to death. My father once said, we're going to go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. We drove up to Kentucky Fried Chicken, and he said, now, we don't have any money, we're not going to be buying any chicken, but we're going to go in and lick other people's fingers. Now, we did get a little better off financially, and I remember one night we had a dessert. We had ice cream. But my father said, I want to teach you about taxes. So he ate 30% of our ice cream. I remember once when burglars broke into our house looking for money, and my father woke us up to help him. When they left, we got ridiculed for wasting their time. I didn't do very well at school. In fact, the third grade was probably the roughest 3 years of my life. Once I had a real good teacher that told me that I needed to set some goals. And she had a goal for me to finish 3 books in 1 week. And I finished 3 books in 1 week. Now that's a lot of coloring. I didn't hate school, just the principle of the thing. I once studied for a blood test and failed it. Right after I got my driver's license, I was driving down the road and a policeman came and pulled me over and come up to the side of my car, and I rolled the window down. He said, son, do you have an ID? And I said, an ID? About what? I didn't do very well socially. There was a girl called me up once and said, Doug, come on over, there's nobody home. So I went over, and sure enough, nobody home. I sent a photo once to a Lonely Hearts Club, and they returned it and said, we're not that lonely. I dated a girl once that had a twin, and somebody asked me how I could tell them apart. And I said, it's quite easy for me. Jill paints her fingernails pink, and Bob has a beard. Do you know how to get a farm girl's attention? A tractor. We got an AM radio once, and it was 3 months before we realized it would play in the afternoon too. Later in life, we got a universal remote. Now for me, that changed everything. I remember very well this day. Once Grandma was looking through the window, and it started to snow. And my father said, if it keeps snowing, I guess we're going to have to let her in. I used to I used to play sports, but then I found out you could buy a trophy. So now I'm good at everything. Now my employment situation, oh boy, did I have some different jobs. When I was younger, I remember I told my mother that I was thinking of being a doctor, and she said, oh, I don't think that would be good. You don't have any patience. My first job was at an orange juice factory, but I got fired. I just couldn't concentrate. I was an airplane pilot, or I wanted to be, but that never got off the ground. Another job I had was at a deli. I got fired from that. I just couldn't cut the mustard. I interviewed for a job at Baskin Robbins, but when I told them I didn't do Sundays, they said, no, this is not going to work. I was an electrician. Many people were shocked. I was a motivational speaker, but I got discouraged and quit. I worked at a muffler shop, but that was too exhausting. I worked for a company that had a website for orphans, but it didn't do very well because we didn't have a home page. And I learned one thing, it doesn't work to make jokes about unemployed people. They don't work. Now, one of the most exciting, fun jobs I had was a marriage counselor. Boy, now I heard some stories there. I remember one wife said she just needed more freedom. She needed more freedom. So the loving husband built an extension on the kitchen. There was one couple, they had the perfect marriage. See, he was a chiropractor and she was a pain in the neck. But then after that job, I realized that my communication at home was not good enough, that I shouldn't be teaching other people how to have a successful marriage. One spring day, my wife said, "You have just ruined my birthday." And I said, "How could that be? I didn't even know it was your birthday." And she asked why I didn't buy her flowers anymore. I said, "Buy flowers? I didn't even know you sold flowers." And then she said, I'll bet you don't even know my favorite flower. And I said, "Well, I thought it was Pillsbury." Once, right before her birthday, she left jewelry catalogs all over the house. And I finally got the hint and bought her a magazine rack. Now, you women need to know how to understand men. If a man says he'll do something, he will do it. He doesn't need to be reminded every 6 months. By the way, have you heard that boomerangs are coming back? I went to the eye doctor the other day, and guess who I bumped into? Everybody. There was one ad up for employment that really confused me. It said comedians wanted. Only serious candidates should apply. Once I stayed up all night to see where the sun went, and it finally dawned on me. I didn't like my beard at first, but it grew on me. Do you know where the worst place in the hospital is to hide? ICU. The doctor told me if I would jog more, it'd add 10 years to my life. And the very first time that I went on a long jog, I felt 10 years older. We were in Walmart the other day, and my wife said, "Do you want to do the checkout thing, the self-checkout thing?" And I said, "The self-checkout thing, I guess I could try it." So I'd say pretty awesome. Now that's just some of the memories I have. So thank you for listening.
Audrey, we want to hear your side of the story.